Hello everyone, my name is Satyajeet. I welcome you all on this new platform. This program is called as UPSC Mission Success, where we discuss 20 questions on daily basis. This is very useful series, by the way. We have started on our new YouTube channel that is dedicated completely for UPSC program. And on that dedicated UPSC channel, we are launching this program where we discuss 20 questions on daily basis. And I request you all, this is very fruitful, useful program for you for this latest prelims 2023. And I will request you all to join that on the daily basis. Without further delays, let's start with our first question. The questions are listed here. The first question is regarding a few power plants, actually solar power plants, which are floating in nature. And the question asks you the locations of those floating solar power plants, and they have given 4 such pairs. I would like to name them all. I have this copy here also. The first list is here, Ramagundam floating solar power plant. Second is Kayamkulam, then Kamuthi, and the fourth is Bhadla, right? So these 4 solar power plants, where they are located, you have been asked. The first is actually, if you can recall the locations of these power plants, the first and the fourth is correct, by the way. The Ramagundam is in Telangana and Bhadla is in Rajasthan, but they have just little bit confused you about this third and fourth. By the way, the second and third, where the Kayamkulam is in Kerala, and contrary to that, the Kamuthi is in actually Tamil Nadu. Just there was one small twist there. Actually, UPSC plays with you such mind games frequently, where they will confuse you regarding these pairs, matching the pairs. So be careful. Be careful just recalling the names where they are located, especially the locations like this. So the first question, where the Ramagundam and Bhadla, these are 2 correct pairs, 2 correct matches. The 1 and 4, that is B option, is correct. So I would like to take mark here. The B option is correct. So let's start with that. Okay. And Kayakulam, of course, Kerala, and here is Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now let's go to the next question. Of course, the next question is Pingtan Island, recently in news, belongs to which of the following country? Okay. So can you recall that Pingtan Island, where it is located, by the way? Okay, there was, before that I would like to introduce you with that background news. A few months back, especially in August, September, when one of the important US official, Nancy, she visited the Taiwan state, right? US official, United States official, mothi officer rehta, and she visited the Taiwan state. And you know that recently the Taiwan issue is going on, where the stakeholders, one of the stakeholders is China, and China is in with conflict with the other states, including US, Russian, etc. Over the claims over the Taiwan state, right? US is basically supporting the Taiwan, the independent state, and China is claiming its sovereignty over Taiwan. So in concern with Taiwan issue, these 2 states, these 2 superpowers, USA and China, are in opposite to each other, in conflict with each other. And what US did, US sent their very important official in Taiwan. That again raised the flares of the dragon, and China started actually exercises, military exercises, military choppers, helicopters, etc. over one of the, you can say, one of the important island of China itself. That island is called as Pingtan Island. So basically, Pingtan Island is an island of China, where China conducted military operations, military exercises in the backdrop of the visit of US official Nancy, right? So the right option is D, China here. So of course the correct option is China. Now let's move towards the third option. The third question is regarding very important financial institution in India, that is IFSC. And you know that IFSC, the International Financial Services Center, has been opened in actually Gift City. So regarding that, its constitutional basis, legal basis, this question has been asked. The IFSC, it has been established under the Special Economic Zones Act 2005, SAYS Act 2005. What do you think about this option? SAYS Act, right? Basically you need to know about the SAES Act first, and then whether the IFSC is established under SAES Act or not, that is the another question. So the basic idea is that first refer to SAES itself, right? Secondly, all the members of IFSC authority will have the term of 5 years and are not eligible for reappointment. Yeah, so what is your answer, by the way? What is your logic? What is your knowledge about this question? IFSC is very important institution, I told you already, and which regulates the financial services, its applications, right, its maintenance and etc. And it has been established in Gift City. By the way, it has been established under one separate law that is called as IFSC Act 2019 and not SAES Act 2005. The twist here is that the SAES Act 2005 provides for the establishment of such financial centers. Okay, SAES Act 2005 provides for the establishment of such financial centers, but the IFSC, the individual institution of IFSC, is not established under SAES Act. It has been established under the provisions of IFSC Act of 19. Okay, so first statement is wrong here. So the logic is that here we have a separate act, that is IFSC Act of 2019. And all the members of IFSC authority, the authority is the body which actually manages, which regulates the IFSC center, will have a term of 5 years and are not eligible for reappointment. So basically the wrong word, the twist here was regarding this number 5. The tenure of the authority members is nothing but by the way 3 years and not 5 years. So that's how this second statement is also wrong, and both the statements are wrong here. So the correct statement is neither 1 and 2. So the D option is right here regarding the third question. The fourth, consider the following statements about the drone rules of 2021. An approval from the local body is required for operation of the drone in green zones. Basically the drone, and recently there was one news, you might have heard about that, various explosives were carried out with the help of drones in the Jammu and Kashmir region, and across the borders. By the way, the drones flew from the Pakistan border and they entered Indian border, which were loaded with the explosives. That is very serious and dangerous news regarding the internal security of India, and the Indian authorities like DGC, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation, is very much concerned about these drone threats, drone attack, which are unmanned vehicles, right? So without causing any harm to the soldiers, etc., their soldiers, they can bring harm to the another countries. So we have again issued few regulations regarding drone and etc., and the recent version is about 2021. So the question is regarding that. An approval from the local body is required for operation of drones in green zones, by the way. Basically there is no such provision in the green zones. Yeah, I would like to again mention here one point. Green zone, what is green zone? Where the permission to flow the drones or to let's say operate the drone is not required. The drone regulation of 2021 divides the areas into 3 different zones, that is red, yellow and green. The red zone, where the drones are not allowed to flow over there, right? So basically the red zone, the drones operations are not permitted. Yellow, it is somewhat regulated, and green, not regulated, the permission can be granted easily. So yes, of course, and the local body is not concerned here. It might be DGCA, that is Directorate General of Civil Aviation, or Sky Platform. Okay, you can read more about this Sky Platform by googling that platform, by the way. Local body is required to operation. Okay, so this is wrong. Law enforcement agencies have been empowered under the rules to declare a temporary red zone for a specified period. So yes, so this is the right statement. For a particular location, for a particular purpose, the law enforcement agencies, that can be any agency, let's say CBI or police forces, etc., they can declare a temporarily red zone where the drones cannot be operated. Okay, तीसरा कि every drone, including those meant for R&D purposes, is required to be registered with the digital Sky platform. So it is not the condition. Every drone is not required here. Okay, R&D is required to be registered with the Sky platform. By the way, what is this digital Sky platform? This is again a separate question. You should be thorough with this theory also. What is digital Sky platform? But to tell you in very short, very briefly, Digital Sky platform is an online registration platform for the drones or the drone owners. The type of drones, for the purpose of drones, and etc. At the same time, these platforms are used to get permission to operate a drone on very real time basis. Okay, so just read about this Digital Sky platform. It permits for the operation of the drones. Okay, so basically the answer here will be 2 only, that is B. Okay. 5. The saddle pass seen in the news recently is located in where? Can you recall the location? Saddle pass, where it is? Saddle pass is actually in Jammu and Kashmir, of course. Saddle pass is in Ladakh, and it is located in Karakoram ranges of India. So yes, the option D is right, and the one more keyword is Karakoram. Okay, the Karakoram ranges. Okay, the 6th is, I would like to read from here also. The statements are very long. The 6th, yeah, the option first is, okay, look here by the way. Option first, embryonic stem cells ECS are formed in the early stages of embryo, whereas adult stem cells are found throughout the entire body of adult organism. The first question is, what do you mean by stem cells? This is very biological basic question, and go through that theory first. What do you mean by stem cell? Okay. Secondly, the embryonic stem cell, as the name suggests, yes, of course it is formed in the early stages of embryo. This half statement is correct, but what about the second statement where the adult stem cells are found throughout or the entire body? No, the adult stem cells are found in the bone marrow or the fat of the organism. Okay, so bone marrow or fat, it should be the keyword, not the entire body. And second, induced pluripotent stem cells, that is iPSCs, are derived from the ASC cells that have been reprogrammed back into the embryonic, like yeah, of course, right? So basically this is fine. The induced pluripotent stem cells are reprogrammed as ASCs. This statement is right, but here the correct word should be here, not entire body, it should be bone marrow, or maybe fat even. Okay, so this is wrong, this is right, and the correct statement is by the way 2 only. Okay, so the 6th. Now let's move towards the 7th question. This is again a long statement. 7th, it is an initiative, by the way, but which initiative? The name they have given for the scheme is the Scheme for Economic Empowerment of DNTs, that is a SEED scheme. Okay, consider the following statements about SEED scheme. It is an initiative of Minister of Tribal Affairs for the welfare of denotified tribals, that is DNTs, nomadic tribes, that is NTs, and semi-nomadic tribes. So what do you think, by the way? Okay, the keywords are like this, and let's read about the second statement also. Under this scheme, every tribal family is provided with the 1 hectare of the agricultural land of the income generation. So 1 hectare agricultural land. So have you read about this scheme first of all? Okay, so go through that scheme first. What is SEED? But I would like to tell you the correct answer regarding this scheme is, it should not be the Minister of Tribal Affairs. This scheme, SEED scheme, is launched by the Minister of Social Justice. Okay, the Ministry of Social Justice. And the rest of the statement is correct, except this Minister of Tribal Affairs. Minister of Social Justice should be there. Second, under the scheme, every tribal family is provided with 1 hectare of the agricultural land. Basically, the very purpose of this SEED scheme is to provide with the livelihood opportunities to these tribal groups. Okay, first of all, the livelihood opportunities. At the same time, beyond livelihood opportunities, this scheme also tries to provide for health insurance for these communities. Okay, so health insurance. At the same time, it also tries to provide the assistance for housing schemes. So housing assistance. And interestingly, the 4th idea behind this scheme is, it actually helps the students or the aspirants which are preparing for UPSC civil service examination. So that scheme, or that the wing, that wing is also under this scheme. So the competitive examination preparation, right? So competitive exams. So these 4 heads are there under this SEED: livelihood, health insurance, housing and competitive exam, and it does not provide for 1 hectare of agricultural land. So this is how the second statement is also wrong, and we can just exactly find out neither, right? So both the statements are wrong. Now consider the following statements. It is again regarding very important institution in India, that is Nuclear Command Authority, NCA. The Nuclear Command Authority in India is India's nodal authority responsible for the command, control and operational decisions regarding India's nuclear weapon program. Then second, the Executive Council of NCA is chaired by Prime Minister of India, and it is authorizes a nuclear attack if needed. Okay. Third, the Strategic Forces Command (FSC) is the charge of the Nuclear Forces Administration and would be in charge with the firing nuclear weapons. Very important institution, again very strategically located, strategically mounted institution, that is Nuclear Command Authority. Basically the nuclear power or the nuclear weapons is threat not only to the enemy country but also the home country, right? And that's how the responsibility to manage the nuclear arms and ammunitions is very important. And that's how the NCA has been formed, the Nuclear Command Authority, where we have 2 different wings in that. The first wing is actually administrative wing and the second wing is political wing. The administrative wing is headed by, or the executive, that is also called as executive wing, right? So NCA, basically the diagram can be like this. NCA, so executive wing and the political wing. Okay, so executive wing, so काम असं आहे की it advises the political wing regarding nuclear attacks if needed or not. Okay, so advise करते executive wing. Executive wing is headed by the National Security Advisor (NSA), where the political wing is headed by the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister takes the decision regarding the nuclear attacks, nuclear if needed, by the way, and the NSA or the executive wing advises Prime Minister regarding the nuclear attack. So okay, so you can find out the correct statement here. Now the first is right, and the second, of course, the Executive Council NCA chaired by executive wing of the NCA chaired by NSA, not Prime Minister. The third is also right, the Strategic Forces Command, त्याच्यासाठी एक separate force command बनवलेले आपण nuclear authority त्या strategically located, strategically force command मध्ये येते. So the third option is also right, and here we can find out the second is incorrect only, right? So the option is C, second only, which is incorrect, second only. Consider the following statements about the open network for digital commerce. This is very important initiative. Just the Indian government has launched recently. The topic belongs to the e-commerce area, where in USA we have observed certain giants like Amazon and Walmart. They have captured the whole market of e-commerce in those regions, and that should not happen in India. Okay, so the monopoly of this couple of e-commerce institutions, e-commerce businesses should not actually kill the business itself. So that's how Indian government is taking its efforts regarding that, and it is actually providing an open platform for all the stakeholders, all the e-commerce platforms to operate there, and it is also providing many choices, more choices to the consumers and buyers. Okay, so this question is about that. So it is a non-profit and all. So the first statement is, I will like to read. It is a non-profit organization that offers the network of that to enable the local digital commerce stores is, of course. So it is just like e-commerce platform or website where all the e-commerce websites can be handled, right? So yes, it is the one, and it is actually unveiled by the government itself. And the second is, it is hosting the platform of all the existing digital commerce application. So it is a hosting platform of, and all the existing digital commerce applications and platforms must be a part of ONDC network. So basically it is not compulsory to be the part of ONDC. It is actually voluntary program. So basically the digital commerce or e-commerce companies, they are not mandated to get enrolled in ONDC. It is voluntary basis. So this is wrong, and the first statement is correct regarding that. So the first statement, so that's how the answer becomes A. Okay. Now the global gender gap report, very simple question, and need not to discuss much more about, is this question. The World Economic Forum, WEF, publishes this report. One more homework I would like to add here is, first of all, which other reports are published by WEF, World Economic Forum? This is first question. And secondly, just read more about the gender gap report, like what are the parameters, India's rank, the rank, the performance, like आपण वाढलाय rank की कमी झाला ना, etc. Okay, so just एक briefly idea असावी. It's not be very automatic or robotic like कोणता report आणि कोण देतं. त्याच्या पलीकडे जर एक स्टेटमेंट ॲड झालं आणि UPSCने असं विचारलं की इंडियाचा रँक इन धिस लेटेस्ट रिपोर्ट वॉज दिस इज दिस, यू शुड बी साऊंड विथ दॅट. 11th, consider the following statements about the small cells in 5G. You have also read about this, might have, right? So I'm sure about it. You have read about this small cells. Small cells are nothing but the instruments, devices त्यातनं ते 5G चं नेटवर्क बाहेर पडतं. Okay, so small cells. So this we'll read about the options. The small cells are the low powered base stations त्यातनं तो 5G network बाहेर पडेल. Have a coverage range from a few meters to the few hundred meters. Okay, fine. And the small cells are not needed for deploying 5G, unlike earlier generation. This is very illogical statement. The small cells are not needed for deploying 5G. Actually, they are required for 5G itself. So basically, the not word is inserted here to confuse you. So 5G small cells are required for 5G. So that's how wrong statement. This is first is right. So A only. Okay. So what is small cell? Small cell is just instrument like a box where the frequencies or waves of the 5Gs can be emitted and we can get the 5G network. The small cells. 12th, which of the following below given pairs are correctly matched? The states and their locations have been asked. And what do you mean by strait, by the way? First of all, STRAT, strait. Strait is that small passage, a water body, a small water passage which actually connects two different land bodies and two different water bodies. Okay, so let's say for example, just imagine India's territory where we have Sri Lanka located here, right? So, and the water body that passes from, let's say, passes in between India and Sri Lanka is Pak Strait, right? PALK, Pak Strait. So what is strait? Why it is called as strait, the water body? The strait actually connects two different land masses and two different oceans, or the water major water bodies like Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. Okay, so this is called as strait. The Strait of Dardanelles is nothing but okay, you have to match the pairs. किती correct आहेत तुम्हाला विचारलं फक्त. How many are there? Strait of Magellan, Cook Strait, Strait of Tartary. Can you recall that? Yes. Basically mapping should be very sound here. Strait of Dardanelles is located near to Turkey, near to the water bodies like Black Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Sea of Marmara, Sea of you can say Marmara, Aegean Sea even, right? So these water bodies are near to Dardanelles, but you should be very crystal clear about the location. The Black Sea should not be here. The location should be actually Aegean Sea. Aegean Sea and Sea of Marmara. So that's how the location pair is given wrong here in the option. The Strait of Magellan, it connects Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean. It is located in the South American, like this. So if you can imagine the South America, can you imagine that location? Yeah, the Brazil and etc. Right? So just like that. So here is that the Strait of Magellan, the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. The Cook Strait, this is right. Okay, the Cook Strait, Adriatic and Ionic. No, Cook Strait is in New Zealand. New Zealand. It connects two different land masses of New Zealand itself. Okay. the northern island and southern island. So Cook Strait is in New Zealand, and the Strait of Tartary, this is also right opposite, and Sea of Japan. If you can open the mapping section of Japan territory, you can find out these locations. Okay, so here we have, okay, this is wrong and this is right, so I think the option is B correct here. So 12 we have B, yeah, 2 only, right? Now 13 Port Klang seen in the news recently is situated in which of the following countries? Yes, can you recall that news, by the way? India's there is one important ship, naval ship of India, INS Sumedh. Okay, so INS Sumedh had recently visited this country. The country is named as Malaysia, that port. Okay, so the Klang. So basically this country is Malaysia. India is actually celebrating Amrit Utsav, the India's 75 years of independence, and regarding that it is connecting various countries through the naval bases also. And one of that exercise was going on, and India's Sumedh, INS Sumedh visited this Port Klang in Malaysia, so that's why it was in news. 14, consider the following statements regarding, again, a biology question. Nuclear matrix is a fibrous meshwork of the proteins which results in when the DNA is removed from the nucleus of the cell. Basically, yes, nuclear matrix is a fibrous framework of the proteins which results when the DNA is removed from the nucleus of the cell. And secondly, nuclear matrix is involved in regulation of the gene expression, gene localization, gene organization, and chromatization of living cells. So what do I mean by basically the nuclear matrix? Actually, nuclear matrix is nothing but that structure where we remove DNA from that, and which helps to structurally make the cell sound. I mean, giving the shape to the cell, maintaining the structure of the cell is actually done by this nuclear matrix, and that's how these statements are correct. Both the statements are correct, which plays very important structural role in the nuclear structures. So the question, the answer here is nothing but B. Both the statements are correct, right? C. Now, just read about this statement, this question of INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is India's first indigenous aircraft carrier. Again, the statements are too long. INS Vikrant is India's first indigenous aircraft carrier and the largest warship to have been ever built in India. What do you think about this statement? INS Vikrant, you might get confused about this word because we have already one ship dismantled on the name of INS Vikrant, which has played very important role in 1971 Bangladesh war. You know about that, right? INS Vikrant was dismantled in the last decade, and we recently ordered, like in 2009, for the crafting of the new aircraft carrier, and it was just recently commissioned in September 2022, and that's why it was in news and the question has been asked. INS Vikrant is now commissioned in Indian Navy, and as a tribute to that earlier INS Vikrant, which was dismantled in the last decade, we have again given the name to this new aircraft carrier as INS Vikrant itself. So it was in 1963 when INS Vikrant was launched in India, which was commissioned in India, and now again in this 2022, the same name has been given to the same warship. Okay, so INS Vikrant, the new warship, but the old name, right? So this question is regarding INS Vikrant. So INS Vikrant is the first indigenous aircraft carrier. Yes, of course, it has been indigenously designed, it developed, etc. So firstly, INS Vikrant is the India's first indigenous aircraft carrier and the largest warship to have ever been built in India. Yes, of course, because no other like Vikramaditya, etc., the other aircraft carriers we have actually not completely indigenously developed on Indian lines, the soils. We have taken help of several other countries like France or Russia and etc. But this INS Vikrant, the latest version, is nothing but completely indigenous version. At present, India has only one aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikramaditya, which is built on the Russian platform. Yes, of course, this is also right statement. And INS Vikrant is built by India's state-run Cochin Shipyard Limited. So this has been designed and developed by indigenous lines, and it has been developed in Kochi. So all the three statements are correct, and that's how we can move towards the next question. The option correct here in 15 is D. Okay. 16, regarding the forest laws. The forest laws, I mean, the topic of forest is very, very important, and the question is also important. Look at this now. The forests are included in the forests are included in the list 3 of the 7th schedule of the constitution, and as you know, the first list is union list, the second is state list, or third is concurrent list. So the forests have been now listed in what you can say the third list, that is concurrent list, by the 42nd Amendment Act in 1976. So yes, this statement is correct. Forest Conservation Act of 1980 FC applies to all kinds of forest, whether under the control of the forest or revenue department. Yes. The clearance of the non-forest use of forest land under the FC Act of 1980 requires giving back the twice area of the compensatory afforestation, that is compensation. What do I mean by compensatory afforestation? When a particular forest land has been captured or has been, let's say, diverted to not to be used for forest purposes, the compensation in the land formats has been given, has to be given, by the way, the twice the area of the compensatory afforestation for revenue. So this is also a right statement, and they have asked choose the incorrect. So there is no incorrect statement, so none. So basically, yes, in the list 3, of course, 1980 Act applies to the all kinds of forest. This is also right, and the compensation is twice. Okay, so this is also right. सो कॉम्पेन्सेटरी ऑफ रोटेशन म्हणजे काय की जेव्हा रेव्हेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट किंवा कुठल्याही एखाद्या पर्पजसाठी फॉरेस्टची लँड आपण डायव्हर्ट करतो फॉरेस्टच्या पर्पजपासून, देन त्या जमिनीची भरपाई कॉम्पेन्सेशन म्हणून डबल जमीन द्यावं लागते फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंटला दुसरीकडे कुठेतरी, की तुम्ही ह्या जमिनीवर फॉरेस्ट बांधा, ही फॉरेस्टची जमीन आम्हाला हवी आहे, लाईक दॅट. ओके, सो दिस स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट. नाउ then Ashwasan campaign has been seen in the news regarding which of the following platforms? What do you think? Minister of Ayush, Skill Development, Tribal, or Minister of Women and Child Development? Basically, the right answer should be C, Tribal Affairs. Okay, the Ashwasan campaign is regarding very important issue, very important topic regarding TB, tuberculosis. Okay, so this campaign is for door-to-door recognition, door-to-door identification of the active TB cases, if any, and awareness campaign about the TB, because you know that the TB is one of the important acute diseases that is in that, yes, of course we are suffering from TB, and worldwide according to WHO around 7 million people succumb to the deaths because of TB, and India accounts for 30% of the total burden of the TB throughout the world. And that's how we need to be very cautious about the TB as a disease. And in the tribal areas particularly, the tribals are not aware about the disease, they are not aware about the diagnosis, they are not aware about the treatment and etc. And that's how to make them aware about TB as a disease, its diagnosis, its treatment, its medical facilities and etc. The campaign is going on, which is called as Campaign Ashwasan for Minister of Tribal Affairs in the tribal areas, tribal lands. Okay, now 18. Consider the following statements regarding the Joint River Commission, JRC. What do you mean by JRC, etc. The Joint River Commission is actually a bilateral institution established between these two countries, India and Bangladesh, and not India and Nepal. You know that India has very healthy relationship with the countries like Bangla and etc. And India shares around 54 rivers across the borders with Bangladesh country. 54 rivers. And the rivers is a geographical actually phenomena where they can shift their trajectories, their boundaries, their paths and etc. that can cause various diplomatic tensions between these two countries, right? And to resolve these tensions and to help on technical lines, these two countries have established the JRC. JRC is established by Bangladesh and India to resolve the river, let's say the inter-boundary river disputes or the issues. So yes, not Nepal, it is Bangladesh. JRC is headed by Environmental Minister of both the countries, and no, by the way, it is headed by the Water Resources Minister of both the countries. Not environment, it should be Water Resources Minister. Okay, so this is wrong, and Nepalच्या ऐवजी इथे जर बांगला असला असतं तर fine. Okay, so the first is wrong and the second is also wrong. The correct statement is neither. So basically JRC is a bilateral body. Okay. Now, which of the following are not verticals of Earth Ganga? Very visionary program launched by Indian government again, just like Namami Gange. The Prime Minister recently, you can say, declared that we should move from Namami Gange to Earth Ganga. Okay, so Namami Gange was regarding the cleaning of the Ganga basin. Now the major work has been done. Now we should move from the Namami Gange to the next phase of that program, which is called as Earth Ganga, which is very visionary model, very important model in the area of sustainable development. What we are trying to do, we are going to exploit the resources of Ganga on sustainable lines. We are going to have a model of sustainable development across that the path of the Ganga, and sustainable development model in the localities of the Ganga basin. So basically it has 6 different verticals. It had 6 different departments, 6 different programs, and the question is regarding those programs, the 6 verticals. So out of that they have given 3, like zero budget natural farming. Yes, under this Earth Ganga project, where we are going to implement sustainable development models in that area of Ganga. Zero budget natural farming is one of the vertical. Second is monetization, reuse of sludge. Yes. Promote the cultural heritage and tourism in the Ganga. This is also the vertical of the program, where 3 have been given. Let's list about the remaining 3, by the way. Livelihood generation, the 4th vertical of this Earth Ganga. Then public participation, and the 6th is water governance. Okay, so livelihood, public participation and water governance are the 3 different areas. Other than these 3, so total 6 areas are going to be covered in the Earth Ganga. So I would like to request you all, please focus on this very important point from this prelims perspective. Okay, so choose the correct statement, and yes, all of these are correct. I mean, look at this, not the verticals. Okay, so they have not the verticals, so none, so wrong. D, consider the following statements regarding the PEN Plus strategy. Again, one of the important initiatives, not on the Indian lines but the global lines. So let's read about these. First of all, options. It is joint initiative of NITI, Tribal Affairs, 500 tribal youths, labor intensive, and etc. etc. During the training periods, the youths will be provided with the stipend of 1,000 rupees. No. None of the statement is correct regarding this PEN Plus strategy. If you can recall the PEN Plus strategy, it is regarding the non-communicable diseases, NCDs, the non-communicable diseases which are not caused by the foreign bodies like bacteria and viruses. These are chronic in nature, like heart diseases, cancer, asthma. Okay, so this PEN Plus strategy is regarding the non-communicable diseases. It is launched by the WHO, of course, and it is implemented on the regional lines. And recently Africa was the country where they adopted, Africa continent adopted this PEN Plus strategy on regional lines to you can say control the spread of non-communicable diseases. They are regarding the lifestyle diseases. Okay, so basically the PEN Plus strategy, where all these 3 statements are irrelevant, so choose the incorrect statement. Both are, I mean, all these 3 are incorrect, so the option will be D. And this, we can say that the 20 questions are now over, and I would like to thank you very much, by the way, regarding this program. We'll meet soon. Till then, thank you very much.